Hey everybody, welcome back. Joe and John here. This is the final episode of the year. There's a lot happening that we want to talk about, so we're going to get right into it. Joe, we saw a lot this year. What is the thing you're most proud of?
Yeah, I think the thing that I'm most proud of is just how Logix adapted to the challenges that we saw this year. It was obviously a tough market as it's been over the last few years. Just recently we've seen a lot of government regulations, which has really affected the driver capacity, which in turn, affects the brokerage and how we interact with our customers. So I'm just really proud of the relationships that our account management team and our operations team have made with our customers, because that really helps us navigate the challenges just because we know that we have strong partnerships with our customers. So overall, I think, the thing that I'm most proud of is, one, how our operation team engages with our customers, because in turn, that really helps us when the market gets tough.
Absolutely. Like you said, been crazy out there, a lot of challenges. On the sales side of things, how has that impacted the ability to grow the company?
Yeah, I think it's a give and take. I think there's a lot of shippers that are looking for new carriers and brokerage companies because rates are going up, or at least, there's thought and everybody kind of is planning on rates to go up early in 2026.
It's been volatile, probably more so this past quarter than the past few years, right? So, and we're in the middle of a lot of those conversations with clients because the name of the game is do more with less, right? So if companies can be more profitable, they want us to be a part of that. Is there rubber meeting the road right now where it's getting hard to do that?
Yeah, I really think it just comes down to strong partnerships, and that's what a shipper wants. So if they don't feel like they have that, especially as they see drivers, brokers exiting the market, which continue to happen this year, they want to make sure that they have a partner that they can trust, that can scale with them. So I think shippers are a lot more open now to having conversations with brokerage companies like Logix, just because, again, they want to make sure that they're in a good spot going into 2026.
How do we practically protect them through that, though, right? If the market is swinging, we have to find a way to insulate them to a degree.
For sure. I think, again, a lot of that is relationship, trust, transparency, letting them know, hey, we want to give you the most competitive rates. We don't know what's going to happen in 2026, so we want to be upfront with you. Rates may adjust. Because, again, we want to hold rates for as long as we can. We also need to protect ourselves as well as protecting our customers. So I think that's just having honest and open conversations with our partners, knowing that it's a give and take. When we win, you win, and vice versa.
Yeah, if we're not a commodity or just another transaction for our client, then I'll play a little back and forth here, but do you think they'll be willing to pay more if we are able to insulate them or protect them when the market swings do occur?
I think so, within reason. And again, I think, relationship, service, obviously on top of that. If you have those two things, I think it's easier to shift a shipper's mindset in terms of just focusing on price as opposed to focusing on relationship and service, especially when the market's so volatile, because if they go somewhere else, they might get a better rate for one load. But what about in 3 months when rates start to rise? Are they protected with a new partner? So again, I think right now shippers are really keying in on relationship, making sure that we can trust our partner, that they're going to be with us through the good times and the bad times, and that we're having transparent conversations about what the market's doing and what we think it's going to look like in 2026.
How rapidly are providers falling out of the market right now?
That's a good question. I'm not 100% sure, honestly. You might have more info on that. I know on the asset side, we're losing a lot of drivers with all the new regulations. In terms of brokerage companies, I'm not 100% sure. Would you know that?
On the brokerage side of things, believe it or not, I think the small to mid-size are remaining relatively strong in their profitability. When you look at the mega firms, I think there is a natural corporate approach in seasons with less money. I don't want to get overly corporatized and buttoned up here, but at the end of the day, most of them are there to serve their shareholders. So if the company's not profitable, they go through that swing, the pendulum swing of hiring, stabilization. And I think that's the market cycle we're in right now. But on the carrier side, man, it feels like every day our inbox is hit with shut down here, or shut down there, 4,000 carrier fleet, 200 carrier fleet. But we know owner-operators are struggling too. And for us, we have a good blend of carriers that are on our freight as well as our own assets. And, I think we have a good view of what's really happening out there.
Yeah, and I think we also have a very good blend of shippers that want to see everybody win, themselves, us, and the carrier. Yeah. That's the only way long term, over a long period of time, that they succeed, that we succeed, and that carriers succeed. If we're cycling through carriers, if our shippers are just diving down rates, wanting the lowest rate possible, they know that, one, they're not going to get the best service. Two, we're going to be cycling through carriers, which in turn, carriers aren't familiar with their business, more likely that things go wrong, appointments are missed, et cetera. So I think when you have shippers that have the same mindset that we do and how we treat and view our carriers, I think it sets everybody up for success.
Are there shippers out there that, let me step back. Do you think the dynamic of shipper approach to buying transportation has shifted? And maybe not from what they view in terms of data, but what I'm seeing is the age of business leader and outcome owner is getting lower. I think we're seeing some attrition in the C-suite, and that new generation is coming up. Are you seeing them focus on certain things versus what, we'll say, the generation above us typically bought or how they bought transportation?
I think it's kind of like what you said with the brokerage companies. I think the small to mid-sized companies, they change quicker, obviously. I think their ideals change quicker as well. Other than the big guys, it's going to take a long time for them to change. But I think for the small and mid-sized shippers, they are, because they have to be more flexible as well, just like we do as a brokerage company. So yeah, I would say yes. I think decision makers that are younger I would argue that they're more relationship based, and they're not so much worried about just getting the best price. They want to make sure that they can have long-term sustainability on the transportation side. With it being so volatile, with carriers leaving the market every day, like we said earlier. So I think the small to mid-sized companies, we're seeing their mindset and their ideals change of, instead of just going for the best price on every single shipment, finding partners that they know that can service them through the good and the bad markets.
Yeah. Are there any real life examples of clients and, we'll say 2 or 3 things that they're actually doing within our portfolio that highlight exactly what you just said?
Yeah. I mean, we move a lot of beef out of the Northwest Arkansas area, out of the Kansas City area.
It is super expensive.
It's very expensive.
I'm going to let everybody know that, right?
Yeah. A truckload's about $500,000. So it's very expensive freight. And I think it's easier for that customer to worry less about price because, again, they need the best partners. They need it to pick up on time, deliver on time. So I think they're a really good example of their mindset has completely shifted away from price. It's obviously still a factor, right? It'll never not be a factor, but it's way lower on the list than some of the other companies that we work with for sure.
From an execution standpoint on that specific business, how collaborative is it?
Yeah, it's extremely collaborative. I mean, we're talking daily. We're going over appointments daily. This customer knows the carriers we book. With how time sensitive the freight is as well, the loads need to get moved. So it's extremely collaborative. We almost don't even have set rates with him. It's almost a cost plus model with him because he's so focused on making sure the freight moves with a good, trustworthy carrier that Logix knows and has a relationship with. So again, yeah, I would say it's one of our more, if not our most collaborative client in that regard.
And that's a unique point because I feel like more and more people that are leaning into the relationship, it allows us to give them an open book view of everything we do. And because they want us to win, we want them to win. It almost, they don't balk at numbers that they see, right?
For sure. Yeah. And again, I think, it all goes back to, I think, trust. He knows that Logix isn't going to mark it up, a crazy amount. He knows that our goals are the same as his. Move it, as cost effectively as possible, but with this, we cannot sacrifice service, delivering on time, all that stuff. So, again, it's transparency, it's trust. I know him, he knows me. He knows how Logix operates and our account management team. So
yeah, and that is the disclaimer of all this. It's like, if you're not performing, none of that stuff really matters, right? We're living under the pretense that you have to be performing at a high level in order to achieve those things. It's like, they're all great, but if you can't execute on the business needs of the client, who cares what you're charging them, whether it's $1 or $1 million? Product's not getting there when it needs to, or in the shape that it needs to.
Yeah, and I think that'll only become more important in 2026, again, as we see carriers, brokers exiting the market, capacity tightening, rates probably increasing. Things are getting more expensive for our customers and other shippers. So service and servicing their customers is only going to become more and more important.
100%. And we're seeing that on the contractual side of onboarding. I mean, how many times this year have you and I sat down with clients that have been with us for 3 to 5 years, and because of all the government regulations, because of the involvement, because of the crackdowns on everything and regulatory shooting through the roof, which is a good thing. Like, I'm not knocking that. We need that because it has created a massive issue in our industry. But this year alone, with existing clients, how many of them have come to us and said, hey, we got to turn this contract around that we're sending to our providers because there's too much risk out there for us to not have this in place?
Yeah, yesterday we went through a conversation like that, or a couple days ago. Again, I think, shippers of all sizes, with everything that's happening in our industry, are taking this time to reevaluate their strategy. And they're saying, okay, are we protected? Are we safe? Do we have partners that we can trust when capacity tightens, when rates go up? Are they going to insulate us the best they can? Do they have good carrier partners that they can trust? So again, I think, like you said, we've had a lot of those conversations. I think a lot of shippers and customers are kind of reevaluating their whole strategy right now going into next year.
Absolutely. Who's winning in this market and who's losing? And I'll reframe that from who's approaching their supply chain in the right way and who's not, specifically as it ties to this market and all the things we're talking about. Or who's the most vulnerable?
I think the most vulnerable are the shippers that have chased price this year. Because, I think everybody could kind of agree that we're at the bottom in terms of reefer and probably full dry van. So if we see rates go up in the spring or something like that in the summer, I think those customers that have been chasing the lowest price this year are going to be hit the hardest because they probably don't have the partners, the carriers in place to insulate them to the best of their abilities when rates start going up.
Is lack of compliance and collaboration typically tied to low dollar chasing approaches?
Probably. I think it's just mindset of, the transportation teams at these companies, how they approach their freight, how they approach their partners as well. Are they driving them down, trying to get the lowest cost, or are they being collaborative with them, building a relationship so when tough times come, when prices rise, again, they're insulated to the best of the carrier's ability.
Absolutely. And I don't want to get crazy philosophical here, but companies that are continuing to win business in this market, I fully, wholeheartedly believe that it's a blessing and a miracle that people are still able to do that. And I bucket Logix into that. It feels like every week we're seeing new opportunities to grow. And I don't want us to take advantage of that because that's not the same story that's going on out in the market right now. We're going into 2026. We're a few weeks out. What are you most excited about?
Yeah, I think just that. I think, I'm really excited for Logix to continue to grow. Again, I think everybody here feels extremely blessed that we have the opportunity to work here to service our clients to the best of our ability. So I think just that growing our team, I'm excited about on the sales side, on the ops side. So yeah, again, I'm just excited for us to continue to grow, continue. I mean, I know we're going to see challenges in 2026 as well. It's not going to be all rainbows and butterflies, even though if we expect rates to go up, especially, in the transition period for brokerages, it's, typically the hardest navigating that with your carriers and your customers. But again, I'm just excited for us to continue to grow.
Yeah. Are there any programs or new service lines, heck, even people that are coming on board that you're looking forward to? I know we've been looking at, the total infrastructure of everything that we touch. And honestly, the question I asked you, I probably know the answers to, but you're the one that's going to answer.
Yeah, we just hired a new business development lead out of Austin, Texas. He has experience at a large brokerage company. So yeah, we're super excited to have him on, and he's starting January 1, 2026. So we're excited for him to hit the ground running and really help us continue to grow in 2026.
Good people. We want them, man.
Yep.
I love it. Yeah, Kyle is going to be a great fit here for sure. Going back to the business infrastructure piece, what is on the horizon for Logix in terms of developing new things?
Yeah, I think, Logix is always trying to figure out ways to better service our clients in terms of new programs, expanding our carrier network, et cetera, growing our team if needed. I think, one of the big things on the frozen LTL side is us expanding our warehouse and cross-dock space across the country. So right now, Logix is really figuring out how we can have strategic locations for our warehouses, for our customers to ship nationwide LTL, which we currently do, but most of it is through our warehouses in the Midwest. So I think a big thing we're focusing on right now is figure out some warehouses on the West Coast, the East Coast, the Southeast, to better service our clients in those areas.
So you see those as underserved markets?
Yeah, I mean, I would say in terms of frozen LTL, most of the larger frozen LTL companies, cross-docks, warehouses that do warehousing and transportation, I would say are located centrally in the U.S.
And that's really rare, right? Because within the supply chain, it's typically fragmented out the wazoo. Yeah. I mean, it is rare that you can go to a one-stop shop to cover inbound, warehouse, so inventory management, cross-dock, if that applies, consolidation, outbound to the distribution centers. Personally, I don't know of many that do that, specifically at the performance and compliance levels necessary to be a best-in-class brand.
Yeah, I can think of a few, and we're one of them. But all of them that I can think of are kind of in the Midwest, centrally located in the U.S. So again, Logix currently delivers to every state, every week, every major DC through our frozen LTL program. But most of it is all shipping out of the Midwest. So again, in 2026, we're really going to focus on how can we get warehouse space, cross-dock space on the West Coast, the Northeast, the Southeast, so that we can better service our clients in those areas. Because again, we can always ship it to the Midwest and ship it out LTL. But it doesn't always make sense depending on where it's been manufactured and where the final delivery is at. So if we have multiple cross-dock warehouse locations that, like you said, we can warehouse, well, first we can inbound to, we can warehouse, we can cross-dock, and we can
all managed by our team.
Correct, yeah.
Yep.
And then we can do the outbound transportation as well. If we have a handful of locations that can do that across the country, then I think it would be a huge benefit to our clients.
Absolutely, because the name of the game is attempting to vertically integrate as much as possible, as close as possible, right? You want everything to be in proximity to one another. So I do agree that wink, wink, nudge, nudge, West Coast is on the whiteboard for next year. So it is exciting. But we'll wrap up here. Joe, is there anything you'd like to say before we sign off for the year?
No, it's been an awesome year. Again, it's been a challenging year. There's been a lot of ups and downs, but Logix is better off for it. We've gone through a lot, we've learned a lot. So no, I'm just excited for us to keep growing in 2026.
Couldn't have said it better. Well, clients, partners, everybody out there, thank you for everything that you've done for us this year. And I hope you have a great rest of the year, a wonderful Christmas, and a happy new year with your loved ones.